Hello everyone, in this video we're going to explore how we can solve a system of linear equations using the elimination method. Okay, so suppose I give you an equation like this. 2x plus 4 is equal to negative 1. And then x, I forgot the y. It's going to be, just erase it real quick. Sorry. So we should include two variables, of course. That's why I'm sticking to the y. Okay, is equal to negative 1. And then x minus 4y is equal to 0. So in the last video we explored how to solve a system like this using the substitution method, where we found one variable in terms of the other and then substituted that into the second equation. But this time we're going to work with the elimination method. So elimination is a vertical method. First of all, okay, so what do I mean by the vertical method? I mean subtracting one equation from the other, okay? So, and not necessarily subtracting, okay? So I must add that you have to decide whether you're going to add or subtract. So in this case, notice that you have a positive 4 coefficient in the first equation for the y, and then a negative 4 coefficient for the second equation for the y. So this means that you can actually add these guys. Notice that you can add 4y and then minus 4y, and then the result will be 0. So by adding the two equations, you will eliminate the y and solve for x, right? Because you will only have the x variable remaining. So let's add these two equations. So we will have 2x plus 4y plus x minus 4y is equal to negative 1 plus 0. And notice how when I'm adding the equations, I'm abiding by the strict rule of adding respective sides of the equation. So I'm not adding the left side of the first equation with the right side of the second equation. That would be wrong. Okay, make sure that you follow the rule of adding the respective sides only. Okay, so take sides one at a time and do not mix the sides when you're adding equations. Okay, so I first added the left side of the two equations to produce the third equation with the resulting left side, and then adding the right side of the two equations separately to produce a third equation resulting right side. Okay, so I'm not intermixing the sides when I'm adding the equations. This is very important that you follow this rule when you're doing elimination method. Okay, so now that I have done that, notice that 4y and minus 4y turn to 0, just as we had hoped before, and which is what we wanted. So as a result, we have 2x plus x is equal to negative 1. So which means that 3x is equal to negative 1 and x is equal to negative 1/3. Now once again, you're going to use the simplest equation available. Now the simplest equation is the second equation. Why? Because there's a 0 on the right side and x has a coefficient of 1. So there's less work involved, right? So we're going to have negative 1/3 minus 4y is equal to 0, which means that you add y's on both sides, 4y's on both sides, and you're going to have negative 1/3 is equal to 4y, right? Because you're adding 4y's on both sides, plus 4y and plus 4y. Okay? So as a result, dividing both sides by 4, y is equal to negative 1/3, negative 1 over 3 times 4, right? Because if you're dividing a fraction by a number, the fraction's denominator, the smaller fraction's denominator, will multiply the big denominator, right? So in this case, 3 and 4 will multiply. So as a result, y is equal to negative 1 over 12. And your solution in this case is going to be x comma y, which is equal to negative 1/3 and then negative 1/12. If you want, you can check this in the first equation to make sure that it's correct if you have time on the exam. So you can do 2 times negative 1/3 plus 4 times negative 1/12 and that means negative 2/3. Now 4 and 12, they can be reduced. 12 will turn into a 3, 4 will be gone, so it's minus 1/3, which is what we want because we want the LCD, right? So negative 2 minus 1 over 3 is negative 3 over 3, and that's precisely negative 1 as is given in the equation that we're using to check the example. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you. Please subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.